The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
There's a girl, she's a star, she's got style, Steffi Star, you see her face around the town, she's popular, Steffi Star.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Weinstein. Meredith.
Hi, I'm Meredith Keach.
Yeah. Oh, we are top producing real estate agents. We have a huge team. We're wildly popular.
A massive following.
A huge following. And we have an unbelievable guest today.
I think we're both giddy, actually.
I mean, we can't even believe he's here in person. Oh my God. This podcast could go viral. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the one, the only, Heath Berkowitz.
Oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. Thank you for that introduction. I can't believe I'm actually here.
Can you believe it? It has been so long.
How long has it been, Steph?
It has been so long. I don't even know how long.
12 years?
Maybe 12 years.
Wow.
So Heath and I were the original show.
The original.
We are, oh my God, we got the
classic.
We got the logo. And I don't know if you all know this, but Heath is the one that sings the theme song.
I do.
Will you sing it for us live?
I should have brought my git fiddle.
A what?
Who? You should have brought that.
I can sing it.
I need a get fiddle.
There's a, how's it go?
There's a girl.
Yeah, there's a girl.
Do-do-do-do.
She's got style.
She's popular. I don't even know how it goes.
Steffi Star.
What was I thinking? I
don't know,
used to smoke so much pot.
It's a genius song, but Heath is very upset. He says it needs to be better quality.
Yeah, it's on its like 600th generation of audio files. So maybe we can refresh it a little.
Can you refresh?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
I kind of want a deep voice like Heath.
Originally the show was, if you remember, it was you,
yeah,
Jody,
yep,
Marissa,
yep,
myself,
yeah.
I had a guitar in the picture, you know what I mean? But that didn't last very long at all.
No, because I'm like, okay, guys, let's go. And everyone's like, oh, I'm busy.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? This is my dream. I said, you are dream shatterers. I'm like, I worked really hard on this. I wanted to be a star. So then I had to do Eastern Cable gigs, which was fine. I was up in a bucket, up in trees. I was interviewing people.
I saw you at food festival type things.
We always did the food show. Yeah. And then luckily, Meredith stepped up to the plate because nobody else would. And it has been magical ever since.
There you go. Well, you guys are a good team anyway.
Yeah.
Outside of this.
Right.
So it makes sense.
Now, Heath, you also had your own radio station.
Way before its time.
Yeah.
That's been my whole life. I've done everything way before its time.
Can we back up for a second?
You're so cool.
All I know about you is that Stephanie thinks you're incredible.
She does?
Amazing. Actually, I should use amazing because that's my word. And that's number one. So if she thinks you're amazing, I think you're amazing.
Okay.
I know you did the song.
I did the song.
I know you're funny.
Well, based on what?
And you play pickleball. What Stephanie says.
I play
That's
pickleball.
it. I don't know anything about you. I don't know where you're from. I don't know why you sang the song. I don't know why you have such a deep voice, a radio show, any of it. So
she knows.
That's too much.
And to anyone who's listening, I have to eat some jelly beans today. So just so you know.
Why?
Because I'm feeling the need.
You're eating jelly beans and Heath is drinking Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
I am.
This is
my thing.
This is not a healthy cast today. No. We are not healthy.
So let's start from the beginning.
Well,
where were you born?
I was born in what town was I born in? Brookline, but I grew up in Easton.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Easton. I went to all.
He went to OA.
Oh,
yeah.
He's an
When
OA
did you
boy.
graduate?
I didn't graduate.
Oh,
He's one of those.
Class of '87. But
he was naughty.
You were actually year before my brother.
Yes. I
I'm a lot older than you.
moved to West Bridgewater in the 10th grade.
Oh.
So, as I've gotten older, I've reconnected with a lot of people from Easton, and I kind of consider Easton my hometown.
Yeah.
Because it's just a better town than
Were you a
West
Zuff?
Bridgewater. What?
Were you a Zuff?
No, I was not a Zuff.
What's a Zuff?
A Zuff is a burnout.
Oh.
I was like in between. No, I played sports in high school.
Oh.
I was on the football team.
You are very athletic, Heath.
I am.
Heath is livid.
I wish I was more athletic, but I think I've tried to make up for it in my old
Did you hear
age.
we're taking lessons so we can play pickleball?
Oh,
yeah, we're going to talk about that because I'm not happy about it, actually.
PO'd.
Why?
Because we were supposed to sign up with him.
Well, we will.
I'm a certified professional, the highest level.
He said we're never going to get that training for where we signed up.
We just are going for an orientation for 4
We're going
lessons.
for an orientation for 4 lessons.
So you can learn the rules in the sport.
every Tuesday
so then we
between
can come
8
play.
and 8:45.
I mean, I could have done that.
For
but
4 weeks.
Whatever.
Oh.
4 weeks. I saw that program
Every Tuesday morning.
at the Union Villa.
Yeah. What's wrong with? Oh wait, do we have to buy paddles?
Oh, no, I'll find out.
Oh.
Yeah, you need paddles. What are you going to hit with your hand?
Well,
Do they
I
have
was
paddles?
part of the building of those pickleball courts.
Okay.
So I feel an obligation to go play there for a bit.
Okay.
we're just 4 lessons.
And then we'll come play with
And
you.
then we'll have private lessons with you.
Private lessons?
Well, how many can
So,
you teach at once?
I am
Up
going
to
to be,
8.
I need to be pickleball tournament ready by August.
Probably not going to happen.
I have to.
Are you serious? Why?
Well, what level
Excuse
tournament?
me. Meredith is very athletic.
Yeah.
She will be ready.
Yeah.
She
Okay.
is.
If there's any way I can help, I will.
Yeah, okay.
What tournament are we talking
It doesn't seem that hard to play.
My family's going to the Outer Banks and we're going to play each other.
about? Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. But they're
Big time.
really athletic. So, really athletic.
Should Meredith have private lessons?
Everybody could benefit from any kind of private lessons, no matter what you're doing, whether it's pickleball or podcasting or whatever. By the way, I was told this was a podcast.
It is.
It is.
Okay, well, a podcast, from what I know,
Adam, can you shut off his mic?
is a digital audio file made available on the internet for downloading. This is being videoed.
Yeah.
This is a show.
He's trying to
It's a
say
TV
we're a
show.
vlog.
It's not a podcast.
You know what?
Just the audio file part of it is a podcast.
In our
Okay.
world, it's a podcast.
So then we're a podcast vlog.
Okay. Fair
Does
enough.
that make you happy?
Yes.
Heath?
I just like all terms to be correct. I'm sorry.
Well,
Fine. We're a podcast vlog.
why is it not a podcast
Because it has a video.
as an added component?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it still fits the criteria of a podcast.
Only if you listen to the audio file, which there's none available. The only place to see this is on YouTube afterwards or something.
Well, my girlfriend doesn't watch it; she listens to it.
Yeah.
Therefore,
so
it
don't
would be a
watch it,
podcast,
Heath. There you go. Good one, Meredith.
If your girlfriend doesn't watch and just listens, I guess that's a podcast.
See,
1 point for Meredith K. Keach. Don't debate Meredith. Although you guys would be
Or
good
her
at
girlfriend.
a debate.
Because her girlfriend doesn't watch it; she just listens.
okay.
Right.
So
Man, it's hot in here. This is like a porn set.
All right.
Not that I've ever been on a porn set, but if I was, I mean, it's kind of small, but there's blue lights, and I feel like
Our director, Adam,
corny.
likes it like this.
we could take our clothes off, but I don't think anyone watching would enjoy.
probably not.
Heath, take off your sweatshirt. Go ahead. We'll wait for you while
No,
you
that's all
take
right.
off
I'm
your
good.
headphones.
I'm good. If I get too hot, I'll take off my sweatshirt.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you went to OA, but you didn't finish at OA because you went to West Bridgewater. And then
Right.
what happened?
Then I was apprenticing under a chef. I was cooking in
Oh.
different places.
You can cook?
Yeah, I've owned a couple of restaurants.
He had a restaurant
What? It's like a
called
Renaissance
Rock
man.
Lobster
The Rock Lobster.
What?
in
Brant Rock.
Marshfield.
You could go in my fridge and be like, "Oh, I'm going to make you something
Heath,
delicious
can
out of
you
this stuff."
Heath, can you reopen that?
That's dreamy.
No.
Why?
I'm all restauranted out.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Heath,
That's a tough lifestyle.
It is. And when you open in a restaurant, everybody that either knows or doesn't know will say that's the hardest business there is. Everybody says that. That's the thing they say. And I knew that because I had been in the business before. But I had a summer home in Green Harbor, and I kept driving by this place in Brant Rock that was closed. And I'm like, I could do something with that. And it started out with, I'm just going to open a little hot dog stand.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big deal, but it turned into a big deal, and it was great for a few years. But it was very seasonal there.
Yeah.
So it really didn't work out the way I thought it would. But the place was amazing. The food was really good. Made a few good friends. In 3 years, I probably had 120 people work there.
Wow.
I think there was 4 good ones, maybe.
restaurant. Good help's hard to find.
And I'm still friends with them. I think some of them might have passed away from heroin. A lot of drug problems in Marshfield.
Yeah.
Big
Well,
time.
just even in restaurant.
Yeah.
I waited tables for 10 years.
That restaurant's still
It's a
vacant.
tough
I
lifestyle.
know. No, it isn't now. It's,
Oh, it isn't?
It just got,
Oh.
last year, it opened. It's like a snow cone place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, brilliant.
Oh. Because
I mean, in July, it would be good.
Yeah. It'd be good for like a week.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I don't know. I guess people like snow cones. What do I know? I don't know shit about snow cones.
I don't.
So you served
a
what?
snow cone.
Like steamers and lobster?
The rock lobster was...
Lobster rolls.
It was like fried fish. It was kind of a combination. My idea was a combination of every place that I liked. So normally I'll travel around, not far, but, you know, surrounding towns to get food that I like for lunch or whatever. And my idea was to bring all that into one place so people didn't have to go to different places. So it was like thin style pizza. It was, you know, North Shore roast beef, which was amazing and better than anything on the North Shore, I have to say. It was deli sandwiches. You know, it was like old boys head and that crap. Fried fish, lobster rolls, that kind of thing, you know. And it was a lot of fun, actually.
Steamers? No.
On special, on occasion. We had outdoor pots and stuff, and we would do that. We did lobsters once in a while.
I'm hungry.
But that stuff's kind of hard to do,
Yeah.
you know, to cook it and serve it live like that.
Right.
But it was amazing, and most importantly, my experience from that was my mother was helping me do it, and she helped me with. I don't eat fish at all, not one bite.
Oh, wow.
So when I prepare it and come up with the menu and the recipes, she was working with me there. She was helping me every day. She was doing a lot of the prep work. Some of the recipes were hers, the salads and all that. But she would taste all the fish, you know what I mean? Because I couldn't.
Oh, that's awesome.
And but she passed away, and you know, I realized quickly she got sick about 6 months after I closed the restaurant. And when I closed it, we needed a break from each other. We had 3 years of running a restaurant together, and a restaurant's so much drama, you know what I mean? It's more than any other business, it's a family.
Yeah.
And there was definitely a lot of drama. There was a lot of young girls working there, and every day they're just blowing up my phone. My boyfriend wants me to go to the movies. I'm like, you have to fucking work, lady. Like, what are you doing? So, you know, my mother had her own feelings about some of the people that work there. But when we got to the end of it, we both needed a break from each other. We were both burnt on it. And then she got sick, and you know, quickly I realized what the restaurant meant to me, and it wasn't about anything but the time I spent with her.
So nice.
I have
so special.
Great memories of that place because of her, you know.
I didn't even realize that she was working with you.
Yeah, I mean, she really did the whole thing with me, and I'll never forget. My mother was like the nicest person and so supportive of me always, even when I was a freaking idiot.
That's what mothers are for.
But I remember the day I called her to tell her that I was going to open the place, and she lived in Marshfield, so she knew the building, she knew the location well. And I said to her, "This is what I'm going to do." And she said, "I'm not sure that's a great idea. Where do you want me to be and when?"
Oh, awesome. Well, I mean, that's what food does too, right? It brings people together.
Yeah.
You break bread, you sit together, you eat, and so I think that
so
too
many
is what
people when
restaurant
I had
does.
that place would come, and it was in Brent Rock. It like my roots are here, you know.
Right.
So it wasn't exactly close.
Right.
I mean, I have some friends in that area because my mother lived there. But
We had to schlep.
Yeah, most of the people that I knew from this area were coming there, and it would be great. I'd get to sit down and have food with people, and a lot of people from Easton that I hadn't seen in 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a really great experience. Some of it wasn't a great experience, but, you know, 12 years since, I don't focus on any of that. I focus on all the good stuff, which is a small handful of people and, you know, the part about my mother, you know.
Yeah.
And my mother was a huge fan of Menino, Man Menino. And one day, my mother's back there cooking. She's a mess. She's got shit all over her. Her apron is just dirty. And Menino's at the window. And I look, I go, "Ma, Man Menino's at the window." And my mother was like, anything, you know, the Kennedys, all that, like she's huge on any of that, you know. And she looks up, she goes, "Holy shit." I'm like, sorry for the swearing, but I go, "Menino's at the window." She's, "Oh my God, my hair." I'm like, "Don't worry about it. Just stay there." So I go out, I meet him, talk to him. He's like, "I heard about this place." And he's in his he's got like protection with him and stuff, you know. He's in his SUV. "I heard the lobster roll's the best, blah, blah, blah." I go, "It is. What else would you like?" Fisherman's, of course, he wanted the fisherman's platter, the most expensive thing on the menu, and he knew I wasn't going to charge him.
Of course.
So I go back. I go, "He wants the fisherman's platter and a lobster roll." She's like, "Oh, let me get," and she wanted to make it personally, you know. So then I brought it to him. he was really nice. And I said, listen, my mother's in there. She loves you. I'll bring her out. I brought her out and she met him, and it was just a great experience, you know.
I love that.
Yeah.
Imagine the best day that I missed. My friend Jody goes down and
That was the best day.
So she had her, he was like, bring your son into the kitchen. I'll show him around. So she does that. So then she goes on the beach and he hand delivers food to her while she's on the beach.
Wow.
She's like, sorry, Star, you're missing all the fun.
I have to say that's the only time I ever did that.
Yep.
I'm not like walking on the
it.
beach delivering food to people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think I have the picture of that.
There is a picture of it. And I don't know what I was wearing for shorts. They were a little weird, but I totally brought her a whole meal. But yeah, her kids were in the kitchen, and I was, letting
He was
them,
so
letting
nice
them
like
cook.
that.
They were making like fried Oreos or something.
Oh, delicious.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, I missed
like
the hand
that.
delivery.
Wait, where did your mom learn to cook?
I mean, probably mostly from her mom and my dad's mom.
Okay.
My dad's mom was like the typical Jewish food.
Yep.
So my mother learned that from her.
Yep.
Brisket and kugel and blintzes and all
Yep.
that kind of stuff, which is where I learned it from my grandmother. But mostly from her mother, probably. Her mother was an avid cook, and she had a big family and cooked a lot. And I definitely learned a lot from her too, through my mother, I will say that my spaghetti sauce, or gravy as the Italians call it, is the best that I've ever had. And it's not even really close. And that was,
I love that.
That was my mother's recipe that I tweaked a little bit. But I remember growing up as a kid, we all do, when your mother's cooking sauce and you go in with some bread and you get a meatball. And that's like food wise, probably the biggest memory I have. And it was my mother who taught me how to do that, So
Incredible.
food is, like you said, it brings people together.
Yeah.
When you're trying to do it as a business, it's a whole nother thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I got no regrets about it.
Yeah,
That was actually the second restaurant I owned. The first one
sounds hard.
The first one was when I was 19. I had apprenticed under a chef, so I was cooking in restaurants. There was a restaurant in West Bridgewater called Gary's Restaurant, and they used to be in Brockton. They were famous for the veal parm. And I cooked there, and I kind of trained under Gary. His name was Gary Eliason, who passed away, but an amazing cook. A Swedish guy making Italian food. But he was a great cook, and he really kind of took me under his wing and taught me a lot. And then his son-in-law, a guy named Steve Parrott, owned a catering company, and he took me under his wing, and I apprenticed under him when I was 18, 17. But when I was 19, my dad knew this guy that owned a building that owned the Hop. Do you remember the Hop? It was like a 50s nightclub in Brockton. So it was called the Hop, and it was a 50s nightclub in Brockton. And at the time in Brockton, you needed to serve food to have a liquor license. And there was a kitchen in there, and the guy that was working there left. So he called my dad and said, "Isn't your kid a cook?" And I'm like, he's like, "Yeah." So let me talk to him. "Hey, do you want to open a restaurant in this place?" So I go down and look. I'm like, "Fine, I'll do it." So I opened this restaurant called, I was 19, Fabian's. Like, I'm going with the 50s.
Where'd you come
theme,
up with the name? Oh,
It's
50s theme.
Yeah, he's a 50s music guy. So it was actually really good. I mean, I had people making reservations to come in and have steaks at this nightclub.
Wow.
It was really cool. It probably lasted about a year. One night was the best. I decided I'm going to go on a date to go to the movies. And I had two like meatheads working for me, right? And I shouldn't say meatheads. One of them was a meathead. But so I go to the movie, and then I get a call. I had like a flip phone, you know what I mean? I get a call, and the fire department's at the club. I'm like, "What do you mean?" The kitchen's burning down. So I go back. I rush back to the club, and the owner's there, who was never there, and he's all pissed off. And he's like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "What's going on?" And all it was the guy I had a pizza oven there. The guy put a pizza in, and it like hit the top of it. And I don't know what he did, but the whole club was full of smoke, like completely full of smoke, and the fire department was there. I'm like, "What the hell?"
Good
I
times.
ended up selling that restaurant to another kid from West Bridgewater. I think I sold him like some shrimp and a spoon. And me and my friend went to California for 8 months with the money that
No
I sold
way.
that
Oh,
for. Yeah.
wow.
And I stayed there. And I went there, I used to be in a band, and I went there with a demo tape to try to get a deal. And at the time, this was probably like in 90. At the time, the Sunset Strip was insane. It was insane. There was thousands and thousands of people around. And it was so much fun. I didn't get a record deal, obviously. I couldn't even get a job. And 8 months later, I called my dad. I'm like, hey, I need $400 so I can drive home. We drove there and drove back, which everybody should do once. Everybody should drive cross country.
I agree.
Once. It was an amazing experience. But unfortunately, that kid was Glenn Hardy, and he's from West Bridgewater, and he just passed away like 3 weeks ago.
The one that you drove back with?
No, the kid that bought the restaurant.
Oh, got it.
Okay.
The one I drove back with and back and forth was a friend named Mark.
Hope he's alive.
He is barely, but the kid I sold the restaurant to owned Hardee's. It was it's like a bar on the West Bridgewater Brockton line.
No way.
It's been there for a long time, and he just passed away a few weeks ago.
So he stayed in the restaurant business.
He did. He did stay in the restaurant business. So, but when I made the deal with him, right? I'm like, all right, I'm selling you what I'm selling you is basically like some food and some utensils and shit, and but you can't use my name and you can't use my menu. This is my I'm 19. This is my intellectual property.
Yeah.
And he's like, what does that even mean? And I'm like, it means I created it and you're not buying it.
Yeah.
That's not what you bought. So like 3 days later, I go back there. So the thing about this club was, it was in a building it was 45 Emerson Ave, and it was in a building that had a place in it called the Music Complex. And it had 45 to 50 band rehearsal studios in the building upstairs. So I had like a girl working for me that was delivering food. Friday and Saturday night, I was killing.
Yeah.
I was killing. So much food going up there. But what was I saying?
What kind of food?
It was just like chicken fingers. And I mean, I had a full menu, but the stuff that I was sending upstairs, like I don't know why. I tried to like sell steaks and shit, which I was to people that were coming to the club, but it wasn't like crazy. And it was at the end of the club's, run. That's the club that turned into Derringer's. Okay. Which was like a rock club. Okay. So it was the same owner, but the 50s, Shenanigans and all those places, that was a fad that died out. And I went in there like right before it died out. And the kid bought it from me right before they changed it to something else. So the kid was in business for like 3 weeks. Oh. But I went in there and he's like, I went in there 3 days later. I'm like, I told you couldn't use any of this. He had my name. He just photocopied my menu. And he was using the same thing.
He was too tired.
He's like, I didn't get it. I didn't understand.
I go back in there and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I told you, you didn't buy any of this. You can't use any of this. So I go back 2 days later. He completely copied the same menu and changed Fabian's to Fonzie's. And I just like put my hand like this and I just went to California. I was like, whatever. And I think he closed like 3 weeks later. But,
Fabian's was the name of it?
That was the name of my place, yeah. But that, as much as it was a learning experience for me, I'm sure it was for him as well. And he stayed in the food business until he passed away a few weeks ago. That's amazing. And his place is still open. I don't know. They do catering. I don't really know what his wife's going to do. But it's unfortunate. He's from a big family, which the family's originally from Easton, the Hardys. And they moved to West Bridgewater around the same time I did. So a couple of them I knew from Easton. And one of them, Dean, is like one of the nicest guys you've ever met. So it's unfortunate they lost their brother. I think there was like 5 of them, and unfortunate.
God, everybody's
not to
dying
bring the podcast down, but
I want to go home.
The vlog.
I'm tired. That drained me.
Okay, so
let's get to some happy stuff.
Yeah, well, okay, so that was your restaurant business.
I knew talking about my mom was going to be difficult, and it always is.
I know, but you loved her, and she loved you.
She was such a great person,
and it was nice to hear you talk about her and be emotional about it because it means
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, I mean really, because it shows it means a lot, about her and
it does.
Your experience with her, and
she was so great. She always supported me. When I was a kid, I was such a moron. I just drove fast. I didn't listen to anybody. I got kicked out of schools.
Basically, you were a hoodlum.
I was a hoodlum.
It sounds like you were as a...
But not a crazy
Not
hoodlum.
a bad hoodlum.
No, I
didn't.
Right,
you just like to have
stealing
fun.
Stuff.
No.
Actually, I did steal. Remember the sub corral?
Yes.
No.
So, where are you from?
Sharon.
Yeah. So...
Roy Kirby.
I remember I stole some candy from the sub corral one day. And my mother brought me back there. You give him back his... I don't even remember what it was. Twizzlers or something.
How old were you, Heath?
I might have been like 11. And I had to tell the guy, I'm like, I'm sorry, I stole these. I'm like, and that wasn't the only time I ever stole, though.
Heath.
I stole from the piano place on 138. I was taking lessons there on an organ. Like
Stephanie, that's the building that you had.
Yes, it is.
So
which one?
The Bill's Music House or whatever.
Heidi's building.
Who?
Heidi Mixto.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about, the one on 138.
Yeah.
That was the piano place.
It was.
Oh,
so
you're
I was
kidding.
like, again, I'm like 11, And my mother brings me there for piano lessons, which they were giving on an organ. Which I mean, why I have no idea. But the organs,
Because they didn't have a piano for piano lessons.
it was a piano place. So the organs had cassettes in them, so you could play it and play along with the cassette. Well, Barry Manilow was one of my favorites growing up.
You love that.
I write the songs. I write the songs as a masterpiece.
That make me
I steal the Barry Manilow cassette. I steal it, right? So I'm at home. I'm under the sheets with my Walkman, like 11
stole the
at night,
cassette?
listening to Barry Manilow.
thief.
My mother comes in. What are you listening to? I go, Barry Manilow. Well, where'd you get that? And I'm like, and I never lied to my mother. You know what I mean? Not until I got older. And I'm like, from the piano place. She goes, you took it out of the organ? I'm like, I did. She took me back there. I had to do the same thing. This is now a ritual, right? I had to give back the cassette and tell them. And they told me I wasn't welcome to come there anymore. I tried, so that's at 11. I'm like, it doesn't pay to be honest at all. Now I'm trying to do the right thing, and this guy kicked me out. Thank
That's
God.
not right.
No, thank God, because
Kind of is, because he was like, you stole from me. I don't want you back.
right.
Poor
Right.
Heath.
And he knew it. He knew my mother made me bring it back. You know what I mean? But first of all, Guy, you're giving piano lessons on an organ, so let's talk about that.
I mean, well, when did you start playing the guitar?
So the guitar thing is, you know, I don't often want to give my dad much credit, but the music thing I have to give my dad credit for because he was managing bands since I was like 14.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was always managing bands, and there was always bands playing in the cellar, and all their equipment was down there, and I'd get down there and I'd take it all apart, try to put it back together. I fail. One time they came in, I took their whole mixing board apart. I thought I put it back together, right? They turn it on, fucking sparks, you know what I mean? It blows up. What the hell? They have no idea, right? And then one of the guys was a dick, so I would...
Of course he was.
I would put...
You weren't.
I would put rocks in his hubcaps.
I mean, who's the dick?
Why?
Because he was...
Why do you put rocks in his hubcap?
So when he drives, he goes... and he pulls over and he goes, damn, Heath, put rocks in my hubcaps again.
You are so naughty.
I was bad.
Like, seriously.
But anyway, so he always had bands around. And I think one of the guys, this guy, Al Ewing, I always thought he was the coolest thing. And I would watch him play guitar, and I would just pick it up and try to play. And I never took a lesson, and I was terrible. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. But I play along with my Motley Crue records and thought it sounded right, which it didn't. I wasn't even playing the right. I had no idea what I was doing. But then one of the guys that was the keyboard player in one of my dad's bands, he used to live like right across the street from here. His name was Greg, and he ended up basically living at my house. And me and him became fast friends, and he really supported me and encouraged me to play. And he wrote songs. And when I learned my first chord change, I started writing songs. And that, for me, guitar is a tool to write songs. I'm an okay guitar player. You know, my son just graduated Berkeley. He's 1,000 times better guitar player than I am. But from a songwriting perspective, I just utilized the guitar so that I could sing and write songs and you know, get my emotions out. And you know, for me, songwriting, two things. When I was a kid, I had mad anxiety, and I couldn't even sit in school and write. I'd start like shaking, you know what I mean? But when, you know, I'm 53 years old. When you were 12 or 13, ADHD wasn't even a thing, or medication or any of that, you know. And actually, I'm glad it wasn't, because I'd still be on it, you know what I mean? So the music, and when I was like 17, I started smoking weed, and the weed definitely, and I don't smoke, like, I'm not a pothead, like, I'm like, you know, my eyes are closed kind of thing. You know, I take one hit, it takes the anxiety away, and I move on, you know.
Heath, look at me. Okay.
No, I'm straight right now. But, you know, the music was the thing, you know what I mean? It really, growing up when you're young, even if you don't really have any major problems, you think you do, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you're a kid, and everything seems so big and important. Even, you know, now that we're older, we realize, and now, you know, I have kids and they say things to me, and like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've heard. Like, you have such a good life. Like, what are you even complaining about? But when you're a kid, you don't look at it that way, you know? So whether it was relationship issues or issues with my dad or different things, I use music as an outlet to always keep myself sane. So, you know, the guitar for me was just a tool to do that. I'd never like tried to excel at it or tried to learn music theory or any of that. I just learned enough so that I could, write songs.
Are you still writing?
I write. I go through phases. When I'm inspired, I write. I'm not the kind of guy that just writes songs to write them. I don't really write happy songs. It's actually very difficult to write a meaningless happy song. And people that can do that, I actually have a lot of respect for, because that's more of an actual craft. To be inspired by something and do it, you have motivation. I think it makes it a little bit easier, But for me, when I'm inspired, I do still write. And it helps me so much. It helps me get through a lot of times that if I didn't do that, I don't really know. I might have turned to harder drugs or something, you know what I mean? But the
You
music
play with
does
your
that for
kids?
me. Huh?
You play with your kids?
Me and Ethan play once in a while, but when he was younger, we used to play all the time. I mean, I had him in the recording studio when he was 3. And he never, I own a guitar store. That's my main thing. And I've owned it for 32 years.
Did you know that, Meredith? You're like Taylor Swift.
In what way?
Songwriter.
I'm not seeing the correlation, Stephanie Weinstein.
Heath is the Taylor Swift
Of what?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Of the podcast.
Of the podcast / vlog.
I mean, that's fair.
The pod vlog.
But I still opened the guitar store, Boston Guitar, in 1991. Still doing very well.
Where is it located?
It's in West Bridgewater. It was in Brockton when I started it, but this is a whole nother story. I mean,
So many stories.
I've had
Whole nother.
I had 3 stores at once. I had a store in Boston. I had a store in Pembroke.
For guitars?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, the guitar thing, when I was really young, I was in a band, and we all thought we were going to be famous.
What was the band called?
It was called Faith. That was the name of the band.
Gotta have faith,
Yeah,
faith.
we used to play that song. But it was like a funk metal type thing. So it was kind of like Prince meets Extreme.
Wow.
And me and a high school friend were the writers, and we're still good friends to this day. That bond, when you write songs together with someone and you make that connection with somebody, I don't think it'll ever go away. People that, you look at bands like Fleetwood Mac and stuff. I mean, I'm not comparing us to Fleetwood Mac in any stretch of the imagination.
I think you are.
But you see stuff like that, and it's real on every level.
Did you watch Daisy and the Six on Netflix?
No.
What
is it?
You should. You didn't like it?
Well, it's a musical.
No, it's not.
That's what the description was.
It's not a musical.
Oh.
What is it?
All right,
No.
I'll watch them.
It's about the journey of a band.
Okay.
Maybe I misread it, and it was
Yeah, it's not a
musicians
musical.
not musical.
You didn't have your
It has
glasses
music
on.
in it.
Sorry, I was
Right.
looking for a new show to watch.
Daisy.
on the 6th?
Yeah, Daisy and the Six.
And the
You
Six.
would love it, Heath.
What's it about?
It said musical.
It's about a band.
or maybe it didn't.
Is
It's-
it about a girl who's
It's based on a true story.
like a
She had.
reporter?
Excuse me?
Is there a girl that's a reporter that's interviewed?
No.
No.
No. No, I don't want to give it away. Just
All right,
watch
all right,
it.
I'll watch it.
Daisy and the Six on Netflix.
Okay, I'll watch
Only
it.
like 10 episodes. You will both love it.
Okay.
I'm really fascinated with this because I want you to know that I dream about what I would be in my next life often.
Yeah.
Rock star.
Guitar salesman?
All day long. Not guitar.
Okay,
salesman.
I cry on
Rock
American
star?
Idol. I cry.
I really, really am going to ask to be a rock star.
Yeah.
I think it would be so much fun.
Well, I think that on the surface, it absolutely seems like a lot of fun.
Yes.
Depends who you are and the situation and the people that you surround yourself with.
I want to be
There's a lot.
me
Yeah.
now,
you
but a
need to
rock
watch.
star.
You need to watch Daisy and the Six and report back to me
With,
after.
like, the foundation and grounding I have now and be a rock star. That's what
I mean,
want.
if you had that,
Yeah.
maybe that would be good.
Mm.
Because
I'd be
most
like-
of them don't.
I'd be like John Bon Jovi. I think he's pretty grounded.
I think so.
He's had a great career.
So Saturday night,
Yeah.
there's a guy that works for me. His name's Bob Fallon. He's in a band called Tower Hill. They're one of the most popular cover bands around. And they have a great singer. Her name's Caroline. And they're playing at the Lanes, the Westgate Lanes. Place,
Shut up.
Place was packed. And I don't go out to see bands anymore. I really don't. But he works for me. He's
Yeah.
a great guy. He's a good
Yeah.
friend of mine. So I go.
Yeah. Support him.
Place is packed. So they start doing Wanted Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi.
Yeah. I'm not like a groupie or anything.
Okay,
to
then
sing,
they
but
fu-
still.
Then they effing call me up.
Shut up.
I hear my name. Heath. What the fuck are they saying my name for? What are they doing? Oh, and then the singer, oh, he's here? Oh, we got to call him up. Exactly. I'm like, what? I'm like, now what am I going to do, right? I can't not go up.
Yeah.
Like, I have to.
You
I'm
gotta
gonna
go.
be a fool.
Yeah.
I go up,
You'd
and
be
me
an
and her
ass.
sang it together on stage. I haven't had that much fun in like 5
I
years.
bet.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
And we interacted very well together on stage. She's a great show person.
So cool.
And it was so much fun, and I haven't done it in so long. I used to play out all the time, but being in a band's very difficult because of the people in the band. Like the personalities.
team.
Like
Yes.
everybody usually thinks they're more important than they really are,
Yeah.
including me. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm the one in my band situations. It was always me organizing everything.
Yeah.
So it was always me getting the gigs. It was always me providing the gear. I've
Yeah.
owned the guitar store for 32 years, so I'm like, use the gear. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I'll bring the PA. I'll do everything. I did everything, and then always people would be difficult. Always.
Yeah.
In any carnation of bands that I've ever had, there was always one person that was impossible to deal with. And so I just got to the point where I'm like, I don't even want to do this anymore. It's not even worth it. And that's when I started playing tennis again. Because I'm like, okay, I can argue with people in bands, or I can go and play tennis and have fun with people that want to come and play tennis. They show
Right.
up and that kind
Well, I
of
think
thing.
that's it's a common thing you hear,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You listen to any interview about bands.
Yeah, 100%.
They break up.
They
there's
all
big
break up.
drama.
Yeah.
Someone's got a drug addiction.
Yeah,
Right.
all that,
Someone's
all
like
that.
spiraling downhill.
Sounds
I don't want to be
exciting.
any of that.
Yeah.
I just want to
I do.
be on stage and sing and like have people sing along with you.
I kind of feel like me and you have that. Like, we were in a band, and you were kind of a pain in the ass.
Me? Come on.
Listen, Stephanie
How
Weinstein
dare.
is not a pain in the ass.
No,
I am
not
the
at all.
opposite.
Oh, speaking of that,
Yeah.
the other night I'm at Tavolino's at Patriot Place, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting at the table eating
Pizza place.
great food,
So
Yeah.
rude.
great pizza.
Yeah.
And I hear this hyena-esque cackling
So
coming from the right.
rude.
And I know who it is. I instantly know
So
who it
you're
is.
staying
Yeah,
focused
I
on
don't have to
forward.
see-
You're not paying attention.
I don't have to see anything. I know who it is. So I look to my right. Sure enough, Miss Weinstein.
I was out with my friends.
She
You
was.
were. Good for
And
you.
I was out with Patty
I
and Deb.
think they had a few, maybe. And she was getting a little. She gets louder as the alcohol goes up, I think.
Doesn't everybody?
Right. Absolutely.
Thanks, Meredith.
So I noticed that. Not a minute later, my son goes, "Why the hell is that lady so loud?"
So rude.
I'm like, "It's a long story. Don't worry about it."
I legit try to talk softly, but I can't.
You know what? I grew up in a family that was widely known as the loud family.
Really?
So maybe that's why I gravitate towards you because it's comfortable for me.
It is so uncomfortable.
I gravitate towards you for the probably opposite reason, for the same reason that people gravitate away from you, which is your personality.
Yeah, same.
Same. Like, your personality is so refreshing and fun. And,
Yes.
And
Thank you.
some people just don't get that. You're a little
Yes.
much for some people.
Some people don't get me.
For me, you're the perfect amount.
Yeah. Oh,
Like, it's so much fun.
so
and
sweet.
Anybody that says to me, blah, 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 I'm like, well, you don't know her.
Yeah.
You just don't know her. And she's
Well,
fun.
but you know what?
Wait a minute.
You're
Who
probably-
says that?
But you know what?
Nobody.
Rude.
I didn't mean to say it that way. I
You're
didn't mean to
probably
say
too much for some people. I am definitely too much for some
We're
people.
all a lot.
A lot.
I'm definitely too much for some
Yeah.
people, I've been told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am too.
You know,
But-
if you're a person like we are that gets things done,
Yeah.
all right, that is going to have success and make progress in their lives and,
Yeah.
and help other people, you're not going to be a person who isn't a lot.
Right.
You're really not.
Right.
Like, if you're a leader or
Yeah.
an organizer or
Yeah.
all those things, then some people are not going to like you.
Right.
And there's many reasons.
People are
for
going to
that.
question.
Yeah,
Right.
all that.
Wah,
Jealousy.
wah,
I mean, there's a lot of
wah,
reasons. You know what I
wah,
mean?
wah.
So I don't apologize for it, and I know you don't either. And
Yeah.
nor should you.
I don't.
You
Right.
shouldn't.
Exactly.
I've always thought I have always gravitated toward your personality because I think you're really funny.
Thanks, Heath.
I do. I do. I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't
Thanks, Heath.
think you weren't funny
Okay, so you owned restaurants early on.
early on.
What was it called?
The Rock Lobster.
Fabian's, Rock Lobster, Fabian's.
No, the Rock Lobster was in
That was
09.
that was way after.
09.
Rock Lobster. What'd you do in between the restaurants? You went to California.
I opened a guitar store. So basically,
Oh, he had three of them.
So basically, I went to California and I came back. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life.
Yep.
I didn't think I wanted to be a cook for the rest of my life or
Yep.
a chef or whatever.
Yep.
My dad was in the car business.
Yep.
So he sold cars, he fixed cars, blah, blah, blah. And I probably hate that business more than the restaurant business. You could be, if you're selling used cars and doing like mechanical work, you could be the best guy in the world. And I feel like my dad always tried to treat people right. You know, at the bottom of his whole thing, and he is a whole thing. He's got a good heart.
Yeah.
And I feel like he always treated people right.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you buy a car at an auction, you go through it, you think it's okay, you sell it to a guy. 2 weeks later, he comes back and he did something to it, and it's your fault. And just a nightmare.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I had one guy who was, I don't remember his name, but he was the nicest guy, but he weighed about 450.
Yeah.
Big guy. And he bought a car from me, and he was the nicest guy. And maybe like a month into it, the car was leaning like to the left. He broke all the suspension, right? And
Pump up the
he broke the seat, the power seat, like he crushed it. So he come in, all this stuff's wrong. So like now I get the amazing job of explaining to this guy why all this stuff is wrong, right? This is only half of it. So I'm like, well, let's call him Ron. All right. He was black, probably not a Ron, but who knows?
Hi, Ron.
But I don't remember his name. And he's the nicest guy. I love this guy. So I had to take him in the office. I'm like, listen, man, this is not under warranty. None of this stuff's under the warranty. You know, you crushed the car. And,
Too many Twinkies.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And he was really nice about it, right? So the mechanic trying to fix the seat come in the office. He's like, I can't do this. I go, what? You don't know how to fix the seat? He goes, I can't do it. It smells like shit.
Oh.
Like it smelled so bad. So I'm like, okay. So now the
like
guy.
Meredith's microphone.
So now Ron is in the office. Blur the microphone. Ron is in the office and he smells the whole office up.
Oh.
Like really bad.
I mean, Heath, this is a terrible story.
I'm just telling you why I don't like the car business.
Well, maybe he couldn't wash. There was a lot of roll.
So I have to take Ron. My father goes, you got to get rid of this guy. He's smelling up the whole office.
Oh, gross.
So I take him outside. I'm like, Ron, I take a chair.
He needs a shower.
I take a chair outside. I'm like, Ron, do me a favor. Sit in this chair. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, listen, I don't know how to say this. But luckily I was young, but I don't know how to say this, but you smelling the whole office up, and we gotta have the customers in there. People are like gagging, you know what I mean? He's like, I get it. And you know, he put his head down, he was like sad.
Oh my God.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he knew, you know what I mean? And I'm like, and I kind of get the feeling like he couldn't really shower properly. And it was sad.
So 19, you got Fabians. You go to California.
Are we going away from this?
Cars.
Yeah, Meredith's moving right away from
I'm
this.
trying to find out where
All right, so I realize I don't want to be in the car business.
Wait, the car business came in after California.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I kind of was in the car business on and off my whole life.
Okay.
Because my dad always owned body shops and stuff. So
He dabbled.
I was always in and out
Got
of
it.
them.
Okay.
I used to go in and take the drill and drill the body men in the back.
Okay.
They like
Causing
that.
trouble.
Yeah, and they would
Always causing
I got
trouble.
thrown in a dumpster probably 100 times in my life.
Can you imagine being
that was
Heath?
your dad's business.
It was
so
my
that
dad's
was where
business.
you'd
Yeah,
go
that's
back.
what-
Okay.
that's
and
why I
that's
got
what I'm trying to
involved in the
figure out in the
And
progression.
he wanted me to be in the car business.
Yeah.
And I think he was pretty, I'm not going to say devastated, but he was pretty let down that I wasn't going to be in the car business.
You just didn't like it.
I didn't want to be in it. I
Wasn't
I
a
really
gig.
didn't want to. I mean, I like a car as much as the next guy, but you know, dealing with people about them is tends to be difficult. And you know, used car dealers have a bad rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of them deserve it, but some of them don't. But they all have it. You know. So
Real estate agents
I
are
didn't
the
like the
same.
stigma. You know.
Yeah, people compare us, real estate agents, to.
Yeah, I mean, not as bad probably as car people, but I get what you're saying. You know what I mean, for sure. But anyway, so I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was selling cars for my dad when I came back from California. But I was going. My mom lived in Marshfield, and I was going in this store in Pembroke called Hub Music, and I was going in there all the time buying and selling gear because I was in a band. And I'm walking out one day,
Faith.
and the guy Tim,
Faith?
huh?
Same band, Faith?
Yeah, this guy Tim.
Gotta have faith.
Who owned the store. I'm walking out the door. I had bought something from him. It was like $400. And he's like, and you could tell I was a wheeler and a dealer because I was. He looks at me and he goes, "Hey, you want to buy a music store?"
Oh.
And as soon as he said it, like it registered in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I do."
Wow.
And he's like, "You do?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I do."
Wow.
And it just because like for me, like I kind of knew that I wasn't going to be a famous musician.
Yep.
I kind of knew it early on. Even before I tried to go to California, I knew it because my dad was managing bands. And my dad's story is we had a babysitter.
Yep.
And her name was Bette Schofield, who was from Easton.
Okay.
And I don't know what happened exactly. At least I don't want to talk about it on a podcast.
Yeah.
But
You bring
Talk
it
about
up.
Ron.
no, I don't want to talk about the details of it. But anyway, it turns into them two being an item.
Oh.
And him trying to get her a record deal for years and spending his money, his friend's money, a lot of money, hundreds of thousands.
Okay.
And I saw all that. And I saw him thinking he was getting a record deal many times and it not happening. So I kind of like learned from watching him that it was kind of a pipe dream, you know what I mean? And it was like hitting the lottery. And that was then when it was actually possible. Now it's even crazier. The music business is not even what it was in the 80s, you know? So I kind of knew that my chances of being anyone famous were very slim.
Yeah.
So I always worked, and I knew I had to make a living, and he also instilled that in me, the ambition. Typical Jewish
Entrepreneur.
trait. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Heath is half Jewish.
I guess I'm a quarter Jew.
Wait, is your mom Jewish?
No.
No,
Oh,
my mom's Catholic. My
That's what
father's
I'm saying.
Jewish.
Is half.
yeah. It's like salty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like Salsi.
Like salty.
So so I as soon as he said it, I kind of felt like, well, this might be a way for me to be in the music business,
Right.
and not like be in a band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's several ways you
don't
can
have to
be
deal with the
involved
drama.
in something.
Yeah.
And actually make money.
Yeah.
32 years later, I'm one of the few independent guitar shops that
Wow.
that has
Isn't that
survived.
something?
Yeah.
Heath.
And but the reason for that is very simple. Early on, I started doing mail order. I started doing ads in magazines.
Yep.
Before the internet.
Yep.
And the first month I put an ad out, I had like 30 items in it, and I sold every one in 2 weeks and shipped them. People would call with a credit card, and I'd like write down the number and then slide it through the thing. You know what I mean? So I think early on, like I found a niche, not
Yep.
only with the type of stuff I started selling.
Yeah.
I was trying to. In 1994, Guitar Center came to Boston, and they were like the Goliath in the room, until very recently. And I would actually go every Wednesday. I had a van, and I would go to other music stores and pawn shops and just spend up $10,000 buying shit. And then I would go to Guitar Center. When they first moved here, they were really trying to buy a lot of gear to have a lot of stuff to sell people. And I would sell it. I became friends with the manager, and I would sell it to them. But while I was doing that, I would sit on a stool outside the acoustic room for hours because this manager had no authority at all. So they had to call California, get everything approved. It took hours to do a deal with them because we're talking like 15 grand or something, and this is in 94.
Yeah.
But in that time, I would watch what was going on. And it was right across the street from BU. And in that time, every day, if I was there every Wednesday for 3 or 4 hours, I would see like 10 people come from BU into Guitar Center and buy a $200 guitar. And I'm like, I can't compete with that. Like, I can't do the mainstream thing and think I can compete with somebody that big. It's like someone that owns a little hardware store now trying to compete with Home Depot. You know what I mean? So I saw that right away. I'm like, I got to find a way to stand out.
Yeah.
And I started selling stuff where I could get the exclusives for the whole state. So it was stuff they didn't sell.
Oh.
It was like everything they did. So it was all high-end stuff,
Yeah.
guitars and amplifiers.
So they say, oh, you got to go to Boston to guitar to
So
go get that.
even now, if a company approaches me, like that's my first thing. It's like, who are your other dealers? And if they tell me a few that are too close, I'm all set. I'm like, when you don't have them anymore, you come to me, and I'll do it. So I finding a niche early on was very important to my longevity because otherwise I'd be gone. I'd be long gone because the people that were older when I started in business, they were so resistant to the internet, and they went out of business very quickly because they didn't embrace it. What I mean?
Yeah, we see that in our business too. I get it.
100%. So the I think I got email in like 90, and in a way my age was I was lucky because although I had to do the things. If I was older, I may have been more resistant to it, but because of my age, anything new, I was all over, you know what I mean? And I had a website in 94, and I was actually the first independent music dealer in the country to have secure online ordering. There was bigger companies that had it in 94, not a lot, but I was the first independent music store. And at the time, to have online ordering for any kind of retail was very difficult to do. There was like 6 different vendors, because you had to have a certain certificate, you had to set up the credit card process, and you had to go through a credit check. Now you can go on GoDaddy and have it done in 10 minutes, you know what I mean?
Right.
It was very different. It took us like 6 months to set it up back then.
Yeah, but that makes sense based on what you've talked about with your life progression. You embrace the change.
Yeah, I mean, the older I get, I don't want to embrace much change.
Yeah.
I'm kind of content. And, the whole contentment thing is something that I really made a conscious decision about maybe, I don't know, 8 years ago. I remember the day I was sitting there and I'm like, why am I not happy? You know what I mean? And I just like I just made a conscious decision that I was happy and that I was content. And ever since then, I haven't really needed to constantly try to achieve something. I think that was like a big thing with me growing up, where I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's like a dad thing. I don't really know. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I think I was always trying to reach goals, which is not a bad thing. You know what I mean? I would never encourage anybody not to try to do that.
Right.
But at some point, it can consume your life, and get in the way of your important relationships. And
you mean because you're so focused on that one goal?
yeah, you know what I mean, and just constantly climbing mountains and trying to reach the top of them. For what reason? I have no idea. It's like you're trying to fill a hole that's inside you that you really don't understand. And I think I've lived a lot of my life that way.
I think it's a good thing.
Well,
because we can be obsessed about bad things too.
I mean, yeah, it's true. It could go either way, but I think in my case, I probably lost some time with my kids when they were younger that I'd like to get back. And I have a great relationship with my kids now. But having a restaurant when your kids are like 8,
yeah,
and 45 minutes away,
yeah.
I mean, it probably wasn't the best thing. I mean, I coached the sports and I tried to do all that stuff. But I probably could have been around more, but I don't know. Someone had to make a living.
Yeah, but right. You're also showing your kids.
No
You're
regrets.
also showing your kids how your dad works, and he's got a schedule, and he has responsibility.
No,
and
I
things
don't. I don't really have any regrets. I think my point is that, whatever I said 8 years ago, or whatever, is that I definitely made a conscious decision to be happy. And not so much happy, but content.
We have a choice, right? You can choose
Right.
to. You can let the
big word
world
to me.
influence you and how you feel on a day-to-day basis,
Yeah.
or you can
Right.
make that decision. You know what? I'm not going to listen to that,
Right.
and I'm
Yeah.
going to choose to be happy.
Yeah.
And you
It's a
do
choice.
have to make that choice every day.
I think
Unless it's clinical, I guess.
But
right?
Right.
I think happy is the wrong word, because I wouldn't say like I'm the happiest person you ever met. But I think content really is the right word, because it's about like, do I have enough in my life? Whether it's not just material either. You know what I mean? It's emotional too. So, and I realized that I do. You know
I think
what I mean?
content and happy for me are the same thing.
For you, it could be.
Sometimes
I
I,
can't
feel
imagine being
like
content and unhappy.
For me, it's definitely not the same thing. But
Yeah.
I think they're both equally as important.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't know. I always, like, I'm an idea guy.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm also, I think the one thing that separates me from a lot of people is that, like, I have the balls to do something when I have an idea.
Right.
Because it's scary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To go out and put everything on the line, it can be scary. And most people, if you're married and you have a house and you have kids and all these things, it's scary to go to a new place where you don't know what the outcome's going to be and you could fail. I've never shied away from that, and I think that's the one thing that really separates me from a lot of people, is that I'll just go for it, and if I fail, I fail. And
Well, you're not afraid of that failure.
I'll always fail on my ideas too. Like, I'll never fail because I let somebody else lead me the wrong way. Like, I'm not a partner guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't really want a partner. I'd rather fail because I screwed up.
Right.
And I can live with that,
Well, that's the difficulty of a team, right? Steph, we've talked about that.
yeah,
I've never been a team person ever in my life. And now
It's
I have a
hard.
tein
right. It's hard.
because of that exact reason.
But I
didn't
think you
love
guys
the
have
idea of, like,
accomplished great things
Oh,
as
no
a team
question.
that you probably wouldn't have
No question.
on your
Yeah.
own. And not just you guys, everybody that works with you guys. I've been watching you guys for years. And it's great to see how much you all seem to like each other.
Yeah.
I think that's important, because I can imagine there's probably some people in the office that you might not like, that you don't want on your team.
Not really.
Come on.
In some offices I've been.
Maybe
I mean, you don't have to
one or
mention any
two.
names. But
Actually, I'd like to mention names.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I started doing a lot of mail order, and that's pretty much kept me to where I am now. I'm still doing a lot of mail order. I ship stuff all over the world.
It's so fun.
And,
Amazing.
I'm actually really lucky in a way that I really still enjoy it. Like, I enjoy musical instruments. I enjoy vintage instruments. I enjoy the history of them. I enjoy the sound that they make.
Well, yeah, because now you have 30-something years of knowledge behind you,
Yeah.
right? So then it's like, oh, it makes it so much more fun.
And I will say that when I was starting, so many people helped me around the country. I was young. I didn't know anything about instruments.
Right.
When I started, I had 8 guitars, because my father was managing bands and I was in a band, and I acquired them, but I didn't really know anything about them.
Yeah.
And I could barely play them.
Right.
But when I started doing mail order and selling stuff around the country in these magazines, there was a magazine called Vintage Guitar Magazine. People would call me about the items that I had, and they would talk to me about them. So I'd meet people. So there's one guy for one brand was the expert, another guy for another brand. So I had like a list of the people I would call when I would get something. Because back in the day, stuff would walk into my store every day, and I'd buy it for $20 worth like $2,000 every day. That would happen, but I didn't know as much about them as I needed to know. So I would make friends like that, and all these other dealers around
Because
the
like
country
someone was getting rid of an
educated me.
instrument, that's why?
What?
Because someone was getting rid of an instrument?
Yeah. I mean, that happens to me still every day where people are selling me stuff. But now the information's out there. Like, people can look online and see what something's worth, kind of, you know.
Do you know what a euphonium is?
What?
Do you know what a euphonium is?
It's an instrument.
Yeah, I just learned this.
You can't trick him with instruments. I think did Gregory buy a ukulele from you?
Yes, he did, actually. It was a great selling experience for me.
It was?
He was a great customer.
Oh.
He was so kind.
He's so sweet,
He is
Gregory.
a sweet guy, sweet kid.
Oh.
I have kids that play instruments. I don't
look.
have any.
Here we go.
Oh.
My son's working at the guitar shop.
Hi, son.
Oh.
What's up?
There might be an issue.
Nothing.
I'll be there in a half hour.
Half hour?
Yeah.
He sounds like a kid.
Okay.
All right, bye.
That's great.
He's at work. He sounds like there's a lot happening over there.
I know, it sounds busy.
So was there a time you were all tatted up with long hair like a rock band?
I
Do you
have
even
long
have
hair.
any tats?
Yeah.
No, I have no tats.
Yeah.
I'm actually against tats.
Oh,
Meredith, you don't have any tats.
I don't.
And I don't have any tats.
No,
Adam.
I'm not a
Adam.
fan. Two tats.
Adam, you ruined our tat-free vlog.
I used to have long hair when I was younger.
Oh, you did?
Well, who didn't?
Right. But no, I kind of feel like tats cover the beauty that a person is.
Oh, Heath, you're so deep.
I am deep.
Renaissance, man.
But now my daughter decides.
She
No.
wants tats.
My
You
daughter
must-
makes all these decisions and
She's
doesn't
so
run any of them
beautiful.
by me. She just
No.
rescued a dog. She lives in my house. I'm like, do you think you might want to ask me to rescue a dog at my house?
No.
No.
No, I don't need to ask you anything.
Well, there you go.
So she showed up. She got a little tiny thing, a little. Oh no! It started a little teardrop on a finger.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it starts.
Well,
That's
Alexa
how it
has
always
a heart.
starts, right?
Alexa has a heart on the
Right.
inside.
I'm like, what the hell's on your finger? Oh, I meant to tell you. Ma said, don't tell you. I got a little tear on my finger. I'm like, are you sad? Like, what are we doing?
Are you in a gang?
Now she got like 6.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
that's how it goes.
What is? You can't see any of them. You know what I
right.
mean? But I'm like, why?
Because
Why do you
it's
have
the
those?
age.
She got the antlers. Get
Antlers?
the hell out of here.
Oh, well.
I don't. She's a beautiful girl. She doesn't need the tats. I don't know what, but I guess
Well, I don't know. If you can't see them, then it's fine.
But if you
Or if you
can't
can
see
see
them,
them.
what's the point?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know because we don't have them.
I have no control over my daughter. I mean, she
She
doesn't do anything wrong.
How
She's
old
an
is
angel.
she?
She's 21.
All right. Well,
She's a
I'm not
junior
against
at
them.
Stonehill.
For me, there's
Oh.
never been anything that I could imagine I would want on my body.
right.
Yeah, what would that be?
Permanent.
Right.
There's nothing.
Like the real estate sign like on your shoulder, like
There's nothing I would want.
MLS
permanent.
You
logo.
do. You do a lot of things, Meredith. You have a lot of hobbies. Oh.
We should leave.
Heath, can you believe it's over?
No.
You have been talking for 1 hour straight.
kidding. We didn't even
No.
talk about pickleball.
Well,
Fascinating.
you're going to have to come back. Do you want to come back?
I'll come back.
Can you come back on Wednesdays, or do we have to do like a special Monday for you?
I can if I know ahead of time. I can come back.
I told you this has been scheduled. I'm like, I'll see you tomorrow. He goes, oh shit, really?
Yeah, but you told me like 3 months ago or 2 months ago.
Well, put it in your calendar.
I don't have a calendar. I don't live my life like that.
Okay, so
Fine.
when we come back,
Yeah,
we will have started pickleball.
you're right. Oh, then we can discuss.
Right.
Right, because
Well,
you have a pro shop somewhere.
I am a certified pickleball professional.
Certified
The
pickleball.
highest level.
Who certifies you?
Different
The
organizations.
pickleball president. Hello.
It's an organization called
of the pickleball. Yeah.
the pickleball. What's it? PPR.
Could they-
Professional Pickleball Registry.
we have to go.
This sounds made up a little
this
bit.
is so.
It's not made up.
I don't know. We're gonna
At the Brown Balloon
You know
Club
what?
in Easton,
We'll be
you come and play
researching.
pickleball. We have tournaments that have 200 people in it.
I
It's
can't
insane.
wait. Well, wait till you see Meredith
We're
and
gonna
I play.
smoke you.
We're joining a tournament.
smoke me.
So
I said, okay.
that's right. We are gonna. You don't even know.
We have a
watch
pro
out.
shop.
We
too.
are gonna
10%
practice.
off paddles.
Oh,
for me.
10%
We'll have
off
to come.
paddles from
Yeah.
Heathy.
Yeah.
Okay.
For
we
you
have to
guys,
go buy
maybe
our-
a little more than 10%. Maybe
Thanks,
11.
Heath. Oh, you're so sweet. Well, that's the show. We have to sign
Thanks
off.
for
We're
having
getting
me.
in trouble. You will come back. We have so much more to talk
Next
about.
time, don't let me talk so much.
No,
mean,
I was fascinated.
I
Actually,
legit
this
couldn't
is
get a word
probably our
in.
Best podcast
I've never
yet.
seen you talk less in my life.
I couldn't get a word in. Thanks, Heath. We'll see you next
I'm
time.
Meredith Keach.
Thank you.
I'm Stephanie Weinstein.
And this is
I'm
Heath
Heath.
Berkowitz.
Heath. Ciao, ciao.